Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly Focus. I am your host who claims who knows the most, but if my picks don't help you, you can definitely roast. But how'd you guys do last week? I went 1-1. Joe Mixon killed it for my team, 5 touchdowns, so that helped me out. I lost a heartbreaker in my other league. I was up by about 12 points. I had Isaiah Likely going in the Monday night game, and then all of a sudden Kenyon Drake just scored 2 touchdowns and ruined it for me that week. So let's start off with what we learned in week 9. We learned that the Packers are a pretty bad team right now. They couldn't even beat the Lions, so it's hard to have any kind of Packer players at all. And Justin Fields showed that he's turning into a pretty good quarterback, using his legs and being smart about the passes and he makes and everything like that. So he's got a pretty good run game with Montgomery and Herbert, and Komet's turning into a pretty good tight end. Just get him some pretty decent receivers, and I think he's going to progress into a pretty good quarterback. And the Colts switched from Matt Ryan to, is it Sam Ehlinger? And, the results didn't prove good for Frank Reich, so they switched head coaches to Jeff Saturday, a former center with the Colts. I don't think that's going to help anything at all. That team's a mess. It's going to take a lot more than just switching guys around in order to get them back on track. But let's get into the Week 10 and who you should start and who you should sit. So the first game is going to be the Falcons at the Panthers. First game that they had in Atlanta was pretty much a barn burner. I'm going to say start Mariota again this week. He did pretty well. He didn't do too well against the Chargers last week, and then he did a lot better against the Panthers the first time around. So I say probably going to duplicate the same thing. If you have him, be kind of wary with him. They're playing at Carolina this time, so And then when it comes to, I think the only wide receiver I'd recommend, I'd say, Drake London, maybe a flex at the most. Kyle Pitts probably as well. He's been pretty reliable. I'm not even sure who the running back situation is. I think Cordell Patterson's slated to come back pretty soon. If it is, then he's probably worth a start if he's healthy. And the defense for Atlanta, probably not. PJ Walker for the Panthers, I'd say start him this week. Probably looking like a revenge game right here. I think Chuba Hubbard, I can't remember, but is slated to come back. But I think it's Deontay Foreman's job to lose. It starts DJ Moore. Don't even know who the tight ends are for Carolina, and I wouldn't recommend starting Carolina defense. So next game is going to be an early game on Sunday, 6:30 in the morning. It's going to be the Seahawks at the Buccaneers. Seahawks look like they can't do no wrong right now. I'd say start Geno Smith with confidence, even against that Tampa Bay defense. Lockett, Metcalf. I think Noah Fant's turning into a pretty good weapon for Geno Smith as well. He's definitely worth a flyer this week. And Kenneth Walker III, probably going to be Rookie of the Year. He's killing it right now, getting tons of yards and tons of touchdowns. Even with the recent struggles with Tampa Bay, I wouldn't suggest starting the Seattle defense. When it comes to Tampa Bay, Brady did stage a nice comeback win last week, but I would sit him until you see more progression, But he has to throw to somebody, so Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, start them up. Same with Leonard Fournette. And then I think that since Brady's still hurt, I think, is it Cade Otton is the tight end now. He's probably definitely worth a flyer for sure. Tampa Bay defense is not what they used to be, so I'd definitely say sit them for sure. Next is going to be the Vikings at the Bills. This game's going to be pretty good, so I say if you don't have anyone better, I would say start Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to throw a pick or two, maybe get sacked a couple times, but it's bound to happen. I say start Justin Jefferson. I'm not sure on Thielen. He's kind of been inconsistent as of late. Dalvin Cook for sure, and I wouldn't start the Minnesota defense. Now, Josh Allen's dealing with an elbow injury, so they might just kind of watch, how he plays and everything, maybe hand the ball off a little bit more, but it looks like he's going to play. Stephon Diggs is a no-brainer. You start him every week. McKenzie and Davis, kind of a coin flip there. Doesn't look like Hines has done anything since the trade. I trust Singletary more. He's more used to the offense. Singletary would probably be a good flex. And Buffalo defense is probably definitely worth this a stream this week. Looks like they're at home, then they're going to get some takeaways for sure. So next game is going to be the Lions at the Bears. Lions are kind of a hot mess right now, even though they did beat Packers last week, but barely. So Bears defense is not that great. If you have someone better than Goff, then start him, but I wouldn't suggest Goff. The receivers haven't really done anything. I don't even know who the tight end is now since they traded Hawkinson away. I only would trust Swift and Williams as running backs, and then Lions defense, never start them. When it comes to the Bears, I think this is probably the start of the week. It's going to be Justin Fields for sure. He's looked like he's playing at a higher level, and he's playing against the Lions at home. So definitely start for sure. I still hold back on starting Claypool for right now until he gets acclimated to the offense. Same with all the wide receivers. Kmet is probably a safer bet start, that's for sure. And if you have Singletary and Herbert, they're definitely worth a start. They're probably going to be up pretty big, so they're running the ball. And Chicago defense is actually probably worth a start this week. So, sorry, my page is reloading. Give me one quick second. Yep, so I think the Bears are going to totally demolish the Lions for sure. So pretty much all the offensive weapons that were on the Bears, definitely start them for sure. Okay, so the next game is going to be the Jaguars at the Chiefs. So the Jaguars are playing okay. I think they're coming off their bye week. Oh no, actually they beat Las Vegas last week. So I don't think KC's defense is as scary as everyone thinks it's supposedly to be, So I'd say start Trevor Lawrence if you have him, but start with caution, of course. Christian Kirk's turned out to be a pretty good, solid number one receiver for Lawrence. Tidney has taken over the running backs. He'd start with him with confidence, and Evan Ingram, probably a good flex as well. I wouldn't start Jacksonville defense. So when it comes to KC, Mahomes, no-brainer. I'm not sure to really trust on the wide receivers. Like since Tony got in, he hasn't really done much, but he's only been there for about a week. I think Edwards-Helaire is doing okay, and I think he's time sharing. I can't really remember who the other guy is, but Kelsey, no-brainer. And I wouldn't suggest starting KC defense. They barely beat the Titans last week, so it's probably something they have to work on for sure. So next game is going to be Browns at the Dolphins. Looks like a lot of people, they score on Miami's defense, not as good as everyone thought it would be. So the offense is actually doing a lot better. If you have Brissett, he's definitely worth a start for sure. Probably if you have two quarterbacks in one league, but I would say go with someone better, probably based on matchups. Amari Cooper, can't go wrong with Chubb and Hunt at the same time, and Njoku as well. So, and I wouldn't start the Cleveland defense at all. Tua is playing at a remarkable level right now, so he's a start every week. You got Hill and you got Waddle, so definitely start those guys for sure. Gesicki kind of dropped off a little bit, but I think he's looking to bounce back this week, so he's definitely worth a start for sure. And if you have Jeff Wilson and Mostert, I think they're going to probably lean more toward Mostert because he's more familiar with the offense. And based on recent weeks, I wouldn't start Miami defense. So we're going to go into the afternoon games. Next is going to be the Texans at the Giants. They didn't trade Brandon Cooks, so if you have him, I think they're probably going to send him out or maybe just release him. But no one is worth starting for Houston. No, not Mills, not O.J. Howard. Dameon Pierce has kind of just dropped off. Same with the defense. Like nothing. Don't start anybody. Even Fairbairn, don't start him either. So if you have any Houston guys, bench them. Giants, Daniel Jones is definitely worth a stream for sure this week. He has a pretty good matchup, and if he can't find anyone open, he can definitely scramble for sure. I think it's Wandale. I can't remember his last name, but I think he's a pretty popular pickup this week. Definitely worth the stream for sure. Saquon Barkley for sure. And Giants defense is definitely worth a start this week. So next game is going to be the Saints at the Steelers. So these teams are kind of similar with each other. Quarterbacks don't really know. I would not start Dalton. Seems kind of inconsistent. But I would start Olave, Johnson, the tight end, and Kamara for sure. And Saints defense is pretty interesting stream this week because they're going to be going against Pickett. And no pun intended, he throws a lot of picks. So I would not start Pickett. I think it was Deontay Johnson and can't remember any of the other wide receivers. Freiermuth probably wouldn't start them. They don't look really good at all. Same with Najee Harris. And Pittsburgh defense, probably not. This might be like a mid to like low scoring game, so I probably wouldn't start the defense. So the next game is going to be the Broncos at the Titans. I don't trust Russell Wilson on the road right now, especially when he's just playing really average right now. So I wouldn't say starting him. Judy, Sutton, and the whole disaster with the running backs with Murray, and now they got Edmonds and then Gordon. You don't even know who's starting, so I would just suggest checking your applications and making sure who's starting to possibly know. But I think that Titans defense is actually going to get to Wilson. So I think Malik Willis is in for another start. 2 starts already. He's done okay, so I wouldn't recommend starting him. Robert Woods is the only receiver that I know on the Titans. Probably wouldn't start. And Henry, of course, is no brainer. He just does everything for the team. But like I recommended, Titans defense, absolutely for sure. Start them this week if you got them. So, and the next game is going to be the Colts at the Raiders. So, new head coach for the Colts said that Vegas is a pretty bad team, but they should be looking in the mirror. So, Ellinger hasn't really been doing much. He needs more reps. I wouldn't start Pittman. Maybe Taylor if he's healthy. That's the only guy. I think Cox and Brown tight ends, probably not. And then the Colts defense probably going to be on the field too much because offense is not going to move the ball. I think this is a good chance for Derek Carr to actually score some touchdowns and win a game. So they did pretty well against Jacksonville. They came up short. Start Davante Adams for sure. I think Waller's on IR now for about 4 weeks. So I wouldn't trust his backup until see otherwise. And Josh Jacobs, a no-brainer. And Las Vegas defense is actually worth a stream this week. I know that their defense is not really well known for getting a lot of points, but they probably should have a really good opportunity this week. So Cowboys at the Packers. Now, when you look at the schedule, this probably would have been a really good game on paper, right? But no, after what's happening. So, start Dak, start Lamb. I wouldn't start Gallup, probably not Brown. Schultz, probably if you have him. They're probably going to go with Pollard more than Zeke because Zeke's coming back from an injury. So, but I would say start both those guys you can, and definitely start Cowboys defense. Rodgers, he can't even beat the Lions last week, so no, for sure. They have too many injuries on the wide receiver thing. I wouldn't trust that. I'd trust the running backs. Probably been running the ball a lot. They did pretty well against the Bills. So start Jones. He's dealing with the ankle injury, but should be good to go. Dylan, Tanyan probably not, and Packers defense, nope. So next game is going to be Cardinals at the Rams. Well, this is probably going to be tough. It's going to be if you have someone better than Kyler Murray, but that might be kind of tough. So if you have him, they'll probably be playing from behind. So yeah, Hopkins, that's for sure. Start him. I think that Connor is coming back, so him and Benjamin might share, but I'd say start him as a flex. And when it comes to Ertz, look for him to get probably be Kyler Murray's safety blanket. So, and then Arizona defense, no, I wouldn't start them. When it comes to the Rams, oof, Matt Stafford's dealing with a concussion, recovering from that. He might not even start. So, I'd say find someone if on the waiver wire if possible. I would not risk trying to start him, and then all of a sudden it comes down to game time, and all of a sudden you're SOL out of a quarterback. So, Cup. That kind of depends on Stafford, but I guess he's too good to bench. So, Allen Robinson hasn't really been showing any consistency. I don't even know who's running the ball. They asked for Cam Akers to come back, probably because they couldn't trade him. Check the status on that. Same with Darrell Henderson. Higbee kind of disappeared last week. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. And Rams defense, I wouldn't start with caution. That's all I'd say. So Kupp would probably be the only guy because he's just too good to bench. So, and the Sunday night game is going to be the Chargers at the 49ers. So if you have Herbert, yeah, start him for sure. It looked like Carter and company is going to be taking the lead again. So Carter, I think, is it Bandy and Palmer are going to be the receivers. Look for them to, Herbert's got to throw it to somebody. And then, of course, you can start Eckler for sure. Gerald Everett, yeah, you start him. I wouldn't recommend Chargers defense. They haven't really been doing much. And the 49ers, they're at home. They've been playing better since they got CMC. I say start Garoppolo against a pretty bad Chargers defense. Ayuk for sure. Samuel, if he's coming back. George Kittle. CMC, like I said before. And I wouldn't say start 49ers defense, but they are pretty good at home. So definitely worth a consideration for streaming if you have them. So. And the Monday night game is going to be the Commanders at the Eagles. So Heineke lost last week, but now they're going to go to Heineke and co. are going to go to the Eagles that are undefeated. So I would not recommend starting pretty much any of the Washington players. Maybe come back in some garbage time touchdowns, but you can't really predict who's going to go to. I'd probably bench Heineke if you have him. McLaren. Curtis Samuel. I don't even know if Logan Thomas is even playing, but Robinson and Gibson have pretty much fallen off when it comes to who's running the ball, and Washington defense wouldn't start them at all. So Hurts, no brainer. AJ Brown, no brainer. Start them. Is it Gainwell? No, is it Gainwell? I'm sorry, Miles Sanders. Gainwell's the backup. Miles Sanders, start him for sure. Goddard for sure, and yeah, definitely start Eagles defense. So let's take a look at the kickers. So who should start for this week for sure? Sorry, my iPad is kind of old. Okay, Carlson against the Colts. Yeah, look for them to score quick, score big. So a lot of points for Carlson for sure. Butker against the Jags. So yeah, I think it looks like he's back. So they're going to probably be scoring a lot on the Jacksonville defense. Tyler Bass against the Vikings. So they're going to bounce back from their loss against the Jets, and look for them to score pretty often, quick. So if they're not going to get in the end zone, they're definitely going to be kicking field goals for sure. Suck up against the Seahawks. So even though this is in a game in Germany, look for, probably going to be a back and forth game between the two. So look for Suck up to get a lot of points. He's been getting a lot of points as of late too, probably in the 10s to 15s too. So Graham Gano versus the Texans, yeah, same thing. They're probably gonna be up so big they're just gonna run the ball and then get into field goal range and kick a lot of field goals. So Robbie Gould against the Chargers, yeah. So I see this game going back and forth, scoring a lot of points here. So yeah, definitely Gould's definitely worth a start for sure. Brett Maher against the Packers, same thing. Even though it's in Green Bay, you're gonna see that Cowboys are probably gonna get a lot of opportunities to score on that Packers defense. Jake Elliott against the Commanders, same situation. I think that he might get more extra points than field goals because the Eagles score a lot of touchdowns and not a lot of field goals. So, but he's definitely worth a start for sure, especially against the Commanders. So, Jason Sanders against the Browns. Look for the Dolphins to pile on the points versus the Browns. So, and we have Cairo Santos against the Lions. So Yeah, same thing. Bears are going to be at home, so they'll give them plenty of opportunities to score a lot of points. So yeah, look for that. Start him if you can. So that are all my picks for this week. I wish you guys good luck this week, and I see a lot of teams 4-5, 5-4, all that kind of stuff. It's right in the middle, so that's pretty much how the season's kind of been. It's been a pretty unpredictable season so far, but hang in there. Play what you can play. You can only play the players you can play, and then can't do anything about it. But like I said, I wish you guys good luck. If you guys like the content, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for nerding out to our nonsense, fantasy into our football, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.